Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon out there. Welcome to the Outcast Creative channel where we support creative people, review films, old and new, and also occasionally I do a gaming stream, uh, choose your own adventure stream where I do silly voices for all the characters as I read out the options. If you decide that's your kind of thing, you can put me on in the background while you continue about your day. Yeah, I had this scheduled for last week. I had to postpone it because too much going on, and I can't do these streams if I'm fighting off a cold or if I've got a chest infection or if I've got a sore throat or something like that, because I have to talk quite a lot during the stream. And obviously that doesn't work too well if you can't talk very well, does it? So thank you. I've had a few subscribers, new subscribers recently. So thank you very much. If you're a recent subscriber to the channel, I really appreciate you giving me your friendship effectively. Thank you very much. And do check out the content. There's a lot of content on this channel, but I think the industry interviews are probably the thing on the channel that's probably the interest for you all. Now, today we are going to play we're gonna basically play the game the Plague Lords of Ruel. I don't know who these Plague Lords are or if they have a plague or what they're doing with it. So we're going to go to Lone Wolf Book 13. So I played these books when I was younger up until I think it was book 11, and book 12 was the first one I played for the first time. This will be the second book that I played for the first time. I don't think I'm going to complete all of the book today. I think it will be a miracle if I am able to do it all in one go. Now, I'm just going to get up the various bits and pieces that I need to play this thing. I really should organise this shit before I go live, shouldn't I? I was already running late, and I thought, well, I'll just sort it out, and I get on now. Right, here we are. So I've got the dice app here. So I'm going to be rolling the dice live. So you guys will be able to see me when I roll dice in combat situations, that kind of thing. To know, so you can see that I'm not cheating. And then also the books, the Lone Wolf books themselves, have all been made available online for free. So you can actually get the books yourselves at an address called Project Aeon, which I'm going to be putting up shortly on the screen. And you can go to that address and you can actually see all these books yourself. You don't have to buy them. There are new editions out though, which are well worth purchasing. Really beautifully done. I have got up to book 18 of the new editions on the shelf behind me. You've probably seen them on my other streams on the shelf behind me. So here is Project Aeon, where we're going to go. Thanks for that, Desert Phoenix. Yeah, I haven't done any plugs for it at all. I probably will go onto Facebook and do a few plugs for this before before we get going, just to there's a Lone Wolf group and things that I'm in. See if we can get it going. Yeah, so I'll go on a couple of them, post that. All right. Yeah, so this is Project Aeon. You'll find the books here. So we're now on the Grand Master level. Now we had a bit of confusion on the last book as to exactly what level my character was, and I'm going to double check things carefully to make sure that I don't get that wrong. I have to say that I was quite disappointed in the last book, The Masters of Darkness. It was extremely well written and very visual, and you're kind of in this alternative world, this weird dimension between Earth and space, and where you went to fight the bad guys, and it was kind of cool. But where it really let itself down, I felt, was that pretty much every option I got, I think apart from 4 or 5, were, if you have a certain skill, turn to page 15. If you do not have a certain skill, turn to page 25. As opposed to, do you wish to turn left, or do you wish to turn right, or do you wish to open the door, or carry on, or do you wish to speak to the guard, or do you wish to attack the guard? These kinds of, the choices are what make it interesting. I mean, the skill sets, in terms of, obviously gameplay is important, but in terms of captivating my interest, is neither here nor there, because I've either attained a certain level or I haven't. And I found that was constant in the book. So you were constantly directed to these skill set things, and to be honest, I thought that was a bit naff. I'll be honest. I just thought that the options in the book were very, very limited. So it was a real shame that we didn't get that one. This was originally published in 1990, this book. Wow. So by that time, I don't have a lot of memories of the 90s. In fact, I've got almost none, because of a brain injury I suffered in the early 2000s. Most of the 90s is missing for me. But yeah, I don't know why I stopped reading these books, but I just did, I guess. So we can't talk through a Lone Wolf book without talking about Joe Dever, who I met. He's the creator of the book. He was also an avid wargamer, and an interesting chap, and not, very talented, of course. Brian Williams, I don't know, so I don't know what his involvement came. I guess we'll yeah, I mean, Joe Dever saw it as his legacy and millennium gift to put all the books free online, and I think that was a great thing that he did there. Really great thing. So this is all the credits. Got the story so far. Oh, am I going to read out all that? I don't know if I am. I'm not sure I'm going to read out all that. I mean, basically, this all takes place on the world of Summerland, and I'm the sole survivor of a first order of an elite warrior caste, and my sort of name in lore is the Lone Wolf. The Lone Wolf. Sorry, just doing my voiceover ad there. So I've kind of tracked down the various clans and things that have been responsible for trying to pull the kingdom apart. Eventually, I faced the evil lord behind it, and there's been civil war and different factions and all kinds of things. The thing I really like about this series of books is the world building. The world building in this is absolutely fantastic. So that, I think, is what keeps me interested a lot of the time. I'm just going to get the map up as well, and we'll also go on to the Magnum's website as well. I believe they've got a big map of the world, which we'll have a look at in a minute. All right, I think we're ready to go because I've got my character. My current rank is a mentora. Now, I don't know if I go up a rank every time I complete a book, but I know Desert Phoenix is... Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I know Desert Phoenix is quite a fay with the books who's in the chat right now. So if that's something you can answer for me, mate, will you go up a rank every time you you complete a book? Let me know. All right, so I went into this other dimension. Now, let me see. Whoa. Okay. I think we should. Let's read it from here because I think this is important. So I destroyed the Dark Lords, basically, right? So following the destruction of the Dark Lords of Heldergag, the Gaiacs, the most prolific number in all of Narg's troops, that's basically orcs, effectively, fled into the Darklands and sought refuge in the giant city fortress of Arnak, Gornan, and Cag. Within each of these hellish strongholds, there exists now a state of frenzied civil war. There's remnants of the Zagash, lesser Dark Lords, and the Nadazur. The pronunciation here is killing me. Evil practitioners of a right-handed magic who once aided the Dark Lord Masters fight for control. By virtue of their geographic locations and the struggles taking place within them, each of these city fortresses is isolated from the next and possesses no immediate threat to the peoples of the three kingdoms. Well, that's good news. It is widely believed that by the time the Elder Mackay and the Herbalish reach the walls of these strongholds, the occupants will have long since brought about their own extinction. Well, I mean, that's a pretty big assumption to make. When you say you become whatever the current rank is, do you mean you go up a rank from your last rank, or you stay what your current rank is? Because I don't know when I go up a rank. That's the thing I'm trying to say here. Elsewhere throughout northern Magnamund, peace reigns victorious, and the people of the three kingdoms rejoice in the knowledge that the age of the Dark Lords has finally come to an end. Readily, men have exchanged their swords for hoes and their shields for plows. Okay. This is a kid's book, by the way. And now the only marching they do is along the ruts of their freshly furrowed fields. Few are the watchful eyes that scan the distant horizon in fear of what may appear, although there are still some who maintain their vigilance, for the agents of Nar come in many guises. And there are those upon whom Magnamund, who wait quietly in the shadows for the chance to do his evil bidding. That was a bit of a tongue twister. Often over the past 2 years, Lord Ramoa has warned you to be wary of one such group. They're known as the Sena Druids, and they occupy a small forested realm to the south of the Stormlands called Rule. Okay, before I go any further, why don't we look at where that is? Let's have a look. Yeah, the next higher rank from the last book. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. Okay, so there goes my phone again. So this is the map. We're going to see if we can find where they're talking about. It's not that far down, I don't think. There it is. There's Rule. Right. Rule. A small forested realm to the south of the Stormlands. Rule is the retreat of the Sena Druids, the descendants of the Seneris who rose to power during the age of the Old Kingdoms and released a great plague, decimated the Elder Mackay and the Drawdarin. They have made its dark forest and fetid mountains virtually impregnable to invasion, though the use of evil herbcraft and the enslavement of many Agashari. Okay, interesting. I quite like the sound of this already. I like the title of this book, The Plague Lords of Rule. It's very dramatic, isn't it? Oh, I've got 4 people watching. welcome. See, this is a very niche stream because I mean, there's a lot of people don't even know what a lone wolf book is. So I appreciate you giving your time. Thank you for being here. So what we're going to do is going to drop a couple of links before I start the game properly. So just bear with me for a couple of seconds while I do this. I will talk while I do this, proving that men in fact can multitask occasionally. Indeed we can. So I'm just going to put Wolf Book 13 live stream. Time for me to take on the Plague Lords of Rule for the first time. For the first time in the history of Lance Nielsen's life, he takes on the Plague Lords of Rule. Silly voices included for free. Okay, so this is going to be entertaining to say the least. All right, okay. So here we are. Why not? Am I not still sharing the map? No, I'm not. Am I? Sorry about that. Oh, I am showing the map. Okay, good, good, good. Goat is here. Awesome. How are you, Goat? It must be. Oh no, it's late afternoon here. So yeah, it's goaty feeding time where you are, isn't it? Goat. By the way, I know you want to do some sort of live role playing campaign online. I'm kind of keen to do something like that. I nearly always play the DM, so because you know, being a film director, I like to guide the story. When I've done it in the past, I wondered if you'd be up for playing something like that. And I was thinking, because there's a lone wolf role-playing game out now. I haven't actually played it, but because I know the kingdom and I know the world so much, I wonder if that would appeal. I know Desert Phoenix would be up for it, so we might, if we can get like maybe 4 people. That would be cool. I know it's getting people and getting the time, and the time difference is very difficult, isn't it? But I figured if I do it like maybe 11 p.m. my time, which would be 5 or 6 for a lot of people over there, that might work for 2 to 3 hours each session. Who knows? We'll talk about that down the road. Okay, so I'm just going to pop these posts in a couple of places. Do that quickly. How's everyone's weekend? Have you had a good and productive time? You get to hang out with people you cared about? I hope so. Oh my God. How did I manage to do that? Playing. For God's sake. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when I type on Facebook now, unless I'm looking at what I'm doing, it moves the where I'm typing always goes back to a certain point, so it can be a real disaster. Just give me a sec, people. Just managed to delete my post, so that was very unhelpful. But I promise you, lots of silly and comical voices if you hang out with me. Okay, right, that works well. Let's pop that in there. Do that. That. Pop that on Oh, I can see. Thank you, mate. I can see you've done a post in there already. I'm on Lone Wolf Gamers Singapore, which is an unusual one to be on. I'm going to try and play a few more of the fighting fantasy books on here. I'm keen to sort of play some of the ones I haven't yet owned. And like a lot of people, I'm constantly rooting through bookshops to complete my collection. Yeah, it's an entertaining thing. I think they're republishing most of them, because I know there's a whole load that are been republished with nice covers and that kind of thing, which is nice. There's people in the chat. I'll get round to chatting with you in just a sec. Okay, I see Ray's already beat me to it. I'll do my post as well. Then we'll get cracking. Get going. All right, here we go. I'm guessing, because this version of the book was yeah, no, not just you. Hey, wow, I've got 8 people watching. All right, welcome. Well, we're going to get cracking. So let's take the map off. I'm going to put the book back on. I've also got a dice app here, a visual dice app for every time I do a die roll. You'll be able to see it on the screen, so you'll know I'm not cheating. I've got a whole character sheet written out, and I know every time you restart an adventure, your endurance goes back to its original rating. My endurance is 42. My combat rating with a bow is 24. With a broadsword, it's 23. But then with all the other things I've got, hang on, it's 31. It's my yeah, my total combat skill without weapons is actually 31. There you go, because I've added loads of new stuff now. No, I forgot about that. And I've now got Circle of Blight and various other things. All right, let's keep going. Mystery are role-playing games. Why aren't there many more mystery? Well, what would you call a mystery role-playing game? Because I'm not sure I've ever played one. I mean, I've played Call of Cthulhu, and I actually ran the Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign, which sort of finishes with this James Bond-esque battle in a volcano base, doesn't it? Which is kind of cool. We had a lot of players going mad with Tommy guns in Call of Cthulhu, like Baker Street. Yeah, I just think it's probably not a genre that appeals to a lot of people. I mean, because if you're a sort of a detective, Mickey Spillane type solving a murder case or whatever, that's kind of cool. But I feel that you probably want that to be like an interactive, computer game rather than an RPG or a computer RPG. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are murder mystery dinners, but and they are LARPing. They're LARPing without rubber swords. So, but I don't think a sit round the table murder mystery game would appeal to me. I'd rather go to a murder mystery event or some sort of immersive live action event. All right, let's continue, because it's already 10 to 4 and we've barely got anywhere. So, often over the past 2 years, Lord Ramoa has warned you to be wary of one such group. They are known as the Sena Druids, and they occupy a small forested realm to the south of the Stormlands called Ruel, which they have made virtually impregnable to invasion through the use of evil herbcraft. What's the chances there's going to be like a monster tree of some kind in this book? Hey, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. Cheers, man. Appreciate that. Once, long ago, after the defeat of Nar's greatest champion, Argrash the Damned, they were used by Nar as agents of revenge. They formulated and released a plague that decimated the elder Magai and left the way opening for their conquest of Magnamons. That must have happened like just before book 1, I'm guessing. Now the elder Magai fear that, as before, Nar will use them again to enact revenge for the defeat of his champions. They fear that they will seek to destroy the second order of the Kai before it becomes too strong. For your quest for mastery of the Grand Master disciplines has opened a door to such goodly power that even Nar himself may be unable to counter it. And as he closes that door, others of your kind could soon be following in your footsteps. Already the elder Makai have petitioned the courts of all the Freelander rulers, beseeching them to act immediately and destroy the Seneris before it is too late. Many of the kingdoms that have visited unwittingly harbour secret sects of Sena Druids who practice their vile herbcraft, often in remote areas. Summerland was one such land. Only a year ago, a sect of Seneris were found in the foothills of the Dern Crags, engaging in blood rituals at a site less than a day's ride from the Kai Monastery. News of this prompted action, quite rightly so, which brought about a scourge of the last lands and forced the many Seneris sects to flee for the safety of Ruel. The regular armies of the three nations, Palmorian, Lorden, and Slovia, are now encamped around its border in an attempt to contain the Sena threat. They remain watchful, but that is all they can hope to do. Seneris are too powerful within their own domain for the Freeland armies to dare launch an invasion. But 9 people could maybe slip through unnoticed. Oh, no, it doesn't say that. That's from Lord of the Rings. One such attempt has already ended in disaster. 6 months ago, an allied force numbering 7,000 men entered the forest of Ruel, intent on storming the Seneris fortress of Mogolun and razing it to the ground. 7,000 men went into the forest and only 70 returned alive. So for some reason, they think I can do it all on my own. Very reassuring, that, isn't it? Very reassuring. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Do subscribe to the channel. There's lots of other Lone Wolf stuff on here. But the most interesting stuff on our channel is the industry interviews with all kinds of people across film, video, TV. I don't know why I say video because no one's got videos anymore. Films and television, theatre, music, games designers, novelists, all kinds of people we support. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, despite the vigilance of the 3 Freeland armies, the containment of the Seneris threat within Ruel has not been entirely successful. To the south, the Seneris can enter and leave their realms by means of tunnels which honeycomb the Skardos Mountains. These secret passages emerge in the free state of Caron to the northern edge of the Root Strangle Swamp, which in due course drains into the Tetaris, the great waterway which divides the north and southern continents of Magnamund. Once access to the Tentaris has been achieved, the Seneris are virtually free to sail to any port or country of their choosing. Caron is helpless to prevent the Seneris from using this route through their land. They are a poor nation with few resources, and the Root Strangle Swamp is one of the most difficult places to patrol. It comprises a constantly shifting morass of mudflats and rotting vegetation inhabited only by Zargs, a carnivorous race of frog-like animals originally bred by the Seneris for the sole purpose of guiding them through the swamp's ever-shifting channels. On Midsummer's Day, that's very kind of him, Lord Rowe arrives at the monastery without, as was customary on such occasions, any forewarning of his visit. His unexpected appearance surprised the other Kai and caused them to speculate in whispers about the reasons for his journey. Yet his coming was of no surprise to you. For days you had experienced a feeling of unease, a presentiment that your orderly life at the monastery was about to undergo a dramatic change. Rowe brought with him a glass vial of pale green liquid, a liquid that was proof positive that the Seneris were indeed preparing to enact Nar's revenge upon the free kingdoms of Magnemine. Dun 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 dun. Okay, the vial had been found among the possessions of a Sena druid who had been caught in the city of Raggadorn after having been followed there by watchful herb warden from Bhutar. Under interrogation, the Sena revealed that he had been sent to Raggadorn by Archdruid Kadak, the ruler of Ruel. Okay, so he's the guy with the big red target on his back that no doubt we're going to have to take out. To distribute the files of this liquid to agents sympathetic to the Seneris cause. The herb warden had sent the file to Deti, where the Elder Mackay, upon analysing the liquid, discovered it to be a powerful vaccine against a new and complex plague virus. Judging by the composition of the vaccine, this plague virus would prove to be several times more lethal than the Great Plague devastated the race thousands of years ago. The Sena succeeded in taking his own life before he revealed further details, but judging from the evidence in their possession, the Elder Mackay were convinced that the Seneris are getting ready to unleash an airborne plague virus that could kill all the living creatures of Magnemund, save those that ingested the vaccine, of course. Rowe informs you that the Elder Mackay are unable to replicate the vaccine in huge quantities, and even if they were able to do so, distributing it to everyone would be an impossible task. The herb wardens are sure that the Sena they found in Raggadorn was one of the first of those sent out to distribute this vaccine. Therefore, we must act quickly if we are to destroy the virus before Kadak is ready to release it into the atmosphere. Someone must enter Morgaruth. They must find and destroy the plague virus. They must ensure that this evil work can never again be resumed. For a long moment, you stood in silence, staring into Rowe's unblinking eyes, and then you said, "I'm sorry, I'm not available this weekend. I'm heading off to a day rave, but one of my young acolytes, I'm sure, will be up to the task." No, I don't say that. I love it. Only you. Well, it's like that moment in Lord of the Rings, isn't it? One of you must do this. I will take it. I will go into the evil forest and try and stop the destruction of the world. Okay, right. So here we go. Okay, this is all about sorting out your combat skill. My combat skill is currently 31, funnily enough. My endurance is currently 42. And there's a few items here. I've got all of those, I think, already. Not sure what the Conorium. Only the following special items may be carried over to the Lone Wolf Book 13. Oh, okay. So I've got to delete a load of my special items then. Let me have a look. So the Crystal Stars pendant. Okay. I've lost the canteen of water. I've lost the Nangam sap. I've lost the crystal explosive. I have lost the fire spears. I've lost the Ketu spore pods. Diamond of Colte, that's not on there, is it? Blue steel spear, it's gone as well. So's the psychic ring. So's the hex with number 6 on it. So's the Medal of the Battle of Lumi. Why can't I wear that? What's up with that? Why have I got to get rid of that? So I'm going to keep that. Babylon's Boo Fungi. Okay. A golden amulet. Herzog, the sword of the, yeah, that's the Dark Lord's sword, the weird sword. And a green mask. Okay, well, I'm getting rid of the green mask. All right, so I've got a fair bit of space then. Special items. Your distinguished rise to the rank of Kai Grand Master, you have become proficient in all of the basic Kai and Magna Kai disciplines, blah, blah, blah. Okay. These are a brief summary of my skills. I don't need to go through those. I've already got all of these, I think. Just check. Yeah. I don't think I've got invisibility, actually. I've got all of these set for invisibility. That's interesting. Well, I'll take invisibility. Let's do that now. So basically, if you haven't played this before, there's a number of skills. You get to increase the number of skills you have as you go on. In the years following the demise of the Dark Lords, you have reached the rank of Kai Grand Defender. Okay, so it's actually telling me what rank I am at this stage. So we'll put that on my character sheet. Kai Grand Defender. All right. What does that come with? So it means you've mastered 4 of the Grand Master disciplines listed below. It's up to you to choose which 4. Okay, so Grandmaster Weaponry adds 5 points to your combat skill. Okay, to the weapon of your choice. So I assume you can't do that to the Summer Sword, which is the super powerful sword. Let's have a look. With a bow, you may add 5. Yeah, I'm gonna do it with a bow, I think, because I've already got a bonus with it. So yeah, that means that my skill with the bow is now a combat rating of 29. All right. So combat, hang on, let me just check this. Combat skill 18, shield +2, 20, circle of fire 21, circle of the spirit takes me up to 24, silver braces takes me to 26, the Bronin vest takes me to 29. 4 + 5, 9, 29, that's right. So a total. Right, my combat skill without any weapons is 29. So with a bow, therefore, it would be 34. And then with the broadsword, it would be 33. And with the Summer Sword, it would be 43. I do find that if you don't use the summer sword in combat, things generally go better for you. Yeah, in my experience. Okay, 43 with the summer sword then. Fair enough. All right. I'm going to get a cold drink before I start the game because yeah. Okay, so I'm picking 4 of these. That's 1. I've got some of these already. Right, deliverance advice. Okay, no, I haven't. All right, so I can pick 3 more then because I've gone. One of them, I've gone for a weapon. Wow, these are all new. These are all new skills. Oh dear. So if you successfully complete the mission as set in this first, you may add a further. Right, so you add 1. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that. I think it's 4 of these, right? It's up to you to choose which 4 disciplines. Yeah. Okay. And these are all 4. So obviously the weapon one I've already got, but I'm increasing it basically. I'm increasing my skill level with it. Okay. So if I'm going into this swamp thing, I think animal mastery would it definitely sounds. I mean, well, it's a forest, isn't it? And I think animal mastery is a good idea. So we'll get that one. If, whilst in combat, their endurance is reduced to 8 points or less, they can draw upon their mastery to restore 20 endurance points. This ability can only be used once every 20 days. I think we'll go for that. Deliverance, advanced curing. I'm just going to make a note of that in the book. Plus 20 on my character sheet. Plus 20 endurance points. Once every 20 days. Okay, so that's probably, I'm probably only going to use that like once or twice in the adventure. Got advanced invisibility, it's very obvious. Grand hunt mastery. It's one of your skills. You don't need to kick off a meal when instructed to eat. I think I'll go for that as well because that's always proved useful. So that means that's my lot. I haven't got Pathmanship or Kai Surge or Kai Screen or Grand Nexus or Telekinesis or Magi Magic, or Kai Alchemy. For every Grandmaster discipline you possess in excess of the original 4 you began with, you may add 1 point to your basic combat skill and 2 to your endurance. Well, I'm not doing that today because this is the first book in the series, so we'll move on. Weapons, yeah, I get to add some gold crowns. I've already got from the last back home, I've got 22 gold crowns. I've got 2 sacks of silver nuggets. I don't know how much they're worth. I've got 40 gold crowns from before. So I'm going to have quite a lot of gold crowns here. I'll roll on number quickly. I won't bother changing the screen for this one. I think you can trust me. I'm not really worried about how many gold crowns I'm going to get. I think a D10. I've rolled a 1. What a great way to start. So I've rolled a 1. So that means I've got 21, but I've already got 40. So that basically meant in my pocket, I've got 61 crowns. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make that up to 70. So I'm going to carry 70 with me, and I'm going to take off another 9 from back home, which means there's only 14 now. All right, there we go. 4 meals. Okay, well, I've only got 2 at the moment, so I'll gladly have 4. rope and 12 iron spikes and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, right, fine. It's a rope, a special item, backpack item. I've got that listed already. Okay. Axe, weapons. 6 arrows. That's good because that puts it up to 17 because I had 11 already. Maximum number of weapons I can carry is 2. So I've got the bow and I've got the summer sword, or I can take got the bow, silver bow of Duadadon. So the question is, do I want another weapon? Which do I want to take, the summer sword, or do I want to take the regular sword? That is difficult. That is difficult to choose. That is a hard shout. I've actually just realised with the silver bow of Duadadon, or however it's pronounced, I think my bow skill is actually 37 in combat. Yeah. All right, I'm going to leave the summer sword behind. By the way, I was due to do an industry interview tonight at 8 o'clock, but that's had to be postponed to the following Monday. So my industry interview with Paul Webster will be next Monday at 8 p.m. I do appreciate it when people share my streams, by the way, and give it a plug on their timeline and stuff. That's, very, very, very much appreciated. All right. Let's get going. So I've got a Lampspur potion as well. I mean, there's only one. Currently, I have 2 already, so that's going to go to 3 then. All right. I don't need to go through the rules for combat. I know what I'm doing there. So I'm a Kai Grand Master Superior. Is that right? Oh no, I'm a Kai Grand Defender. There we go. Level 4. Right. As you rise through the ranks, yada yada yada. Yeah. Okay. All right. Grandmaster's Wisdom. What's this? Your mission to enter Seneri's stronghold of Mogaruth and destroy the deadly plague virus will be fraught with deadly danger. Be wary and on your guard at all times, for the inhabitants of Ruel are sworn enemies of the gods Kai and Ishar. Some of the things you will find during your mission will be of use to you in this and future Lone Wolf books, while others may be red herrings and of no real value at all. So try to be selective in what you decide to keep. Choose your 4 Grandmaster disciplines with care, for a wise choice will enable a player to complete many a quest, no matter how weak their combat skill and endurance. Okay. Successful completion of previous Lone Wolf adventures. Hurrah! Although an advantage, is not an essential for the completion of this first Grandmaster adventure. The prevention of the spread of a deadly Seneri's plague virus and the subsequent death of untold millions depends on the success of your mission. May the light of the Kai and Isha be your guide as you venture into the darkness of Ruel. For Summerland and the Kai. Okay, turn to section 1. All right, I'm going to grab this cold drink from the fridge and then we'll get going. All right, I'm back because, you know, I don't live in a place that's got a west wind. It doesn't take me very long to get to the fridge. Now, I'm going to go for as long as I can today. I am fighting off a bit of a cold. But let's see how we go. I'm sure that my innocent super smoothie berry defense will see me through. Right. Grandmaster, the quest must begin without delay, for time is not our ally, says Lord Moreau as he paces nervously back and forth across the flagstone floor of your monastery chamber. You voice your agreement. I agree, and call upon your wise friend to counsel you as best he can about the mission you have undertaken. Not entirely to your surprise, you learn that he has already made preparation, confident in the knowledge that you would agree to this dangerous quest. He has arranged for you to travel to the free land of Palmyrian, where a guide is waiting to escort you to Rule. The guide can guarantee safe passage to the borders of the Dark Realm, but no further. Remoa tells you that little is known of Rule save the unnatural forest which surrounds and protects the Cenarese stronghold of Morgarith. Harbours creatures that are the stuff of nightmares. Some almost defy description. The poor wretches who survived the last ill-conceived, ill-fated invasion of Rule spoke of their encounters with giant acid-spitting worms that rose up out of the ground without warning and devoured whole regiments of their comrades at a single stroke. That sounds like a June worm. They also told us that battles were waged against ferocious packs of disease-ridden rat creatures they called Vazhag. The Cenarese breed these sentiment virgin in warrens deep below the Morgarith and then released them into the forest to patrol and gather food. But even viler abominations that rarely venture beyond the walls of their stronghold. Sounds like a really pleasant place. I'm so glad I'm going, I say to him. Truly, I wish that I was able to tell you more, Lone Wolf, but so little is known of Rule. It is a dark and sinister place. If there is something else, something I can give you which will aid your quest, said Remoa as he holds out his hand. In his palm is the vial of green liquid, the vaccine which will at least protect you from the plague. Yeah, I thought so. You take it, uncork it, and quickly swallow the bitter contents. Do we know how long it lasts? I mean, I'm just, maybe I should have taken it as I approached the forest. I'm just saying, I don't know. Unexpectedly, your stomach rebels, and a wave of nausea rises up, which makes you slap a hand over your mouth. A few moments later, the nausea fades, and you're able to remove your hand and speak. How long will it protect me? You ask queasily. Oh, I'm sure you'll be safe for some considerable time, Lone Wolf. I'm afraid I forgot to mention that the vial contained a concentrated vaccine, more than sufficient to protect 100 men. Yes, thanks for that. Within the space of a few short hours, you are ready to begin your long journey south to Palmyrian. Having entrusted the monastery to the care of your Kai masters, you and Lord Remoa leave by the means of a secret tunnel, one of several that you have had constructed to enable you to enter and leave the monastery unobserved. You emerge in a clearing at the heart of the Freyland forest, at a place where Guildmaster Baindon is waiting patiently to welcome you aboard Skyrider, his flagship. Now, this is a flying ship, a bit like Sky Riders of Mars or whatever, if you've ever seen those. So this is basically a ship that can fly. Here you take time to bid farewell to Lord Remoa, who will await your return at the monastery before climbing aboard, placing yourself in the charge of your old friend Baindon. Turn to 260. Okay, yeah, so we're off. So I write my choice numbers in the chat as I do these. So we're going to 260. 8 people watching, welcome. If you haven't been to the channel before, the gaming part of the channel is relatively small. I mainly interview people in the creative world. Those interviews are on the channel. So let us continue. Let us continue. All right, we're on 260 now. Baindon issues the order to his dwarven crew, to set course for Palmyrian. Then, as the hum of the craft's powerful engines rise in a pitch, he ushers you into his cabin, where a welcoming meal awaits. I wondered what was going on there for a moment. Effortlessly, the Skyrider ascends into the moonless sky and speeds southwards across Summerland's forested heartland, while you endeavour to enjoy your friend's good food and company, and try not to dwell too much on the daunting task that lies ahead, nor the disgusting vile liquid that I've just consumed, I imagine. Together you reminisce about past times spent aboard the Skyrider and recall the adventures you shared in the faraway lands of Inari and Vasagonia. Yeah, that seems like a forever ago. A few hours later, as your airborne voyage is nearing completion, the conversation turns to the quest in hand. Baindon tells you that you are bound for the Palmyrian city of Holloner, where your guide, Captain Semaine, is waiting patiently for your arrival. Once you recognise the name, you recall having heard tell of the captain's feats of bravery during the Darklands War, where his actions won more than a single battle and earned him commendations from more than a dozen freeland nations. Lord Rowe has served you well. For all in Central Magnamund, you could have not wished for a better guide. Now, if he's wearing any kind of red shirt or red scarf, maybe, I'm going to be concerned for his safety as soon as we arrive there. But let's wait and see. All right. It is an hour after midnight when Skyrider passes over the glimmering waters of the river Reloni and descends towards the flat-roofed Cantarium, the largest of Holloner's 8 municipal halls. There you are greeted by the captain, a man whose face bears the scars of many battles. He offers his hand in friendship. You are mildly shocked when your fingers close around a palm crafted of cold steel. A keepsake from the Battle of Velino, he says, raising his metal hand so that you may inspect it in the light of the Skyrider's bow lanterns. Alas, the first was stolen away by a Drakar's axe. Captain Semaine is eager to leave Holloner before sunrise. His carriage awaits to take you south to his command at Stonewatch, a military fortification which stands within sight of the Forest of Ruel. Before you leave, Baindon wishes you success and Godspeed. He and his crew will be awaiting here in Holloner in readiness to return you to Summerland once your quest has been accomplished. How nice of them. For 4 hours, you are lost in a dreamless slumber. The carriage wends its way across hundreds of miles of open grassland trail. God, is it that big? I'm going to put the map up in a second before we do the next bit. When you next open your eyes, it is to the sight of grey dawn breaking over the Palmyrian plain and the sound of a century's war horn announcing your arrival at the Stonewatch. A company of horsemen, each clad like the captain in ringmail armour and a flowing checkered tunic of crimson and blue, emerge from the outpost and ride forward to meet the carriage. The captain acknowledges their salute and watches with pride as faultlessly they change formation to escort the carriage through the outpost's stout wooden gate. Beyond lies a drill square, and even at this early hour resounds to the shouts of command and the measured stamp of soldiers' feet. Disembark near a watchtower, and swiftly the captain ushers you inside and leads you to his quarters on the uppermost level. Okay, before we read the rest, let's just have a look at where we are exactly. So I'm going to get the map back up. Just need to close some other windows here. A bit too much open here. Okay. Sorry, just distracted by something to do with work, but I'll reply to that in due course. All right, okay. let's move on. Now, what we want to do is get the map up. So let's just take that down for a second. Right. Right, so this is Pow Miriam. There's the Stone Watch. That's this Fortress of Moggarith. We've got a forest here, the Forest of Rule. Okay, all right. So pretty au fait with that. I wonder if there is a more detailed map. In Project Aeon's website, I'm wondering. So let me see if tools, special downloads. Yeah, not the maps were here originally, but I don't know. I'm not seeing the bit. I'm not seeing the link for them. Okay, all right. Well, that map works. Let me let me see. I've got a book here, so let me see what the map is. Oh yeah. Well, this one is this one is a bit more detailed. So what I'm going to do is pop the camera on for a second. So we'll take that off. So we've got, this is the map of where we're going. And you can see you've got the fortress there, the Forest of Rule, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. I'm staying off camera for today because I've got my massive reading glasses on, which make me look like Mr. Magoo, which is not particularly entertaining. Well, it's entertaining for you, not for me. Right, so yeah, the Stone Watch is, I mean, it's pretty close in terms of, from the Stone Watch to Morgrith is maybe 50 miles. It's not that far. Something tells me we're going to be exploring a bit more of this map than the adventure would suggest. Let's see what happens. Okay. My cousin. My favourite of all my cousins, Anna Nielsen, is in the chat. It's quite possible that there are some Greek-inspired names, indeed, in there. Quite possible. All right, let's get the blurb back up. All right, there we go. I've got my die rolling app here as well. Yeah, all ready to go. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I do just need to respond to a work email that came in. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to pop on the trailer for my feature film, which is available for you to watch on my channel. So if you, sounds like there's someone trying to do a delivery at my house. This is very well timed. So yeah, I just got to respond to a real quick work email that's come in. So if you check out this while I'm doing that, that'll be great. Let me just, what's this? Ancient names for Troy in Greek. Lumium is the Latin name. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it was a delivery for upstairs, so that's all right. Thank you for that, Anna. Anna's archaeological fact of the week, now appearing on my gaming streams as well. All right, let's let me attend to my work thing, and I'll be right back.
I'm going to tell you a story about 3 men. Each one of those men had lost someone, and losing that someone had made them feel like they'd lost everything.
At least on this earth, we all will lose the ones we love. That is part of life.
Why me? Why did I have to be the one? Why couldn't she just have lived?
You don't want to know these things. As you say, they don't concern your country. When you go back, you'll only remember the beauty you see here, and nothing else will really be important.
Hector.
Let me tell you what happened next.
Hello?
Contact right! Get away from me! This is my decision. My time to go.
When you refer to the past lives, of course you speak of reincarnation.
Well, there you go then. Live fast, die young.
I don't think anyone ever gets over losing someone. I wish I could stay here forever, but real life beckons, I suppose.
What you need to understand about life is that life is not a puzzle to be solved. It's a mystery to be lived. What you've got to decide is, do you want to live it?
Okay, I'm back, and due to my fast typing abilities, I've been able to sort that out. Okay. Just going to send that off now. All right, let's do this. So, spend the day in the company. Oh no, wait, sorry, I jumped ahead there. Captain Seramein is eager to leave Hollander before sunrise. His carriage awaits to take you. I've said all this, haven't I? For hours, you lost. Yeah, I've covered all that. You spend the day. Yeah, that's right. You disembark near a watchtower, and swiftly the captain ushers you inside. Yeah, okay. You spend the day in his company, and together you discuss your approach to Morgarith while you wait for night to fall. After carefully studying his maps, the captain proposes 2 possible routes by which you can reach the Ceneri's stronghold. The most direct way is to enter the Forest of Ruel and journey due east. This is by far the shortest way, but it could also prove the most perilous. You recall Rimoa's account of what lurks in the Dread Forest, and the memory alone is enough to send a shiver coursing down your spine. The alternative is to journey southwards into the Skardos Mountains and enter via one of the many subterranean passages that pass through that range. If you can find your way to the Skardos Trail, the secret route by which the Ceneris enter and leave their realm, you should be able to follow it all the way to the Morgarath. Consult your map before making your decision. Okay, people watching, this is where you get to help me make the decision. Are we going to go via the forest or are we going to go via the mountains? 4 people watching currently, 6 people watching currently. Are we going via the forest or are we going via the mountains? Which way are we going? Put your option in the chat. The ones that get the most vote. This is when I should have responded. I should have done the email. The ones that get the most vote are going to be the ones who. It's going to be the choice I make. Obviously, going direct through the forest is the easiest. Well, is the quickest way, and the one through the mountains, perhaps less perilous, perhaps less exciting. But we shall see. Yeah, we shall see. All right. I always take the direct route, says the eclectic goat. A woman of many victories in the role-playing game, in the history of role-playing games. Anna, however, votes mountains due to the symbols. So we've got 1 vote for mountains. We've got 1 vote for the forest. I need somebody else to chip in. Which way do we go? Do we go to the forest or do we go to the Scarlet Mountains? And then try and find the Stardust Trail. Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to the mountains myself. I think the direct route is going to be filled with all kinds of beasties, but I mean, that could be fun though. You know, I do like to take the route that's the most fun. So there's that. Okay, any more votes? Any more votes for which route we take? Mountains or woods? Mountains or woods? Got 7 people watching. 1 more person. Chip in on the chat and the decision will be made. Where is your sense of adventure? Well, I think I'm going to have an adventure either way, aren't I? Embrace your inner goat. I'm not even sure what that means. All right. Okay, you've made a case for it. We're going to go direct. 228 it is. No one else has chipped in, so. Anna, you'll have to argue more passionately next time. All right. Shortly before midnight, you and the captain ride out of Stonewatch on 2 fine Slovarian steeds. Anna, horses! It is another moonless night, and the plain is shrouded by darkness, yet you have no difficulty in seeing the train that lies ahead. Using your natural magpie skill of hunt mastery, ever-flowing contour of the greasy plain is revealed to you. The captain is not so gifted, but the special spectacles he wears, okay, he fully compensate for his lack of night vision. They were a token of gratitude from the Archchief of Chaman for his services in the defence of the city of Gleish during the war against the Dark Lords, and often they have been used to the captain when scouting his country's border with Rowe. I'm glad you clarified this after I made the choice. Thank you for that. In less than an hour, you arrive at a grassy knoll which overlooks the dense, forbidding wall of trees that is the Forest of Rowe. You are dismounting when something causes you to halt midway. You perceive a scent being carried on the night air. It is the heavy, cloying stench of decay. There is great evil here, says the captain, observing your reaction. You would not be thought faint-hearted were you to return with me to Stonewatch. I will return to your fortress, captain, but not until my task at Morgarith has been completed. The captain smiles and raises his steely hand in salute to your brave determination. Very well, my lord, so be it. Until that glad day dawns, I shall pray for your safety and success. He then brings his horse about, takes yours by the reins, and bids you a final farewell before heading back to Stonewatch. Oh yeah, I forgot he's not coming, is he? He's not coming with me. May the gods watch over you and deliver us swiftly from the darkness of Morgaroo. as he disappears over there. You return his salute. Then, when he finally disappears, you turn to observe the gloomy forest perimeter. At first, the tangle of underbrush and the trees appear to be so interwoven that they form an impregnable wall, yet at length you see that there are 2 points where entry is possible. The first is where a sickly stream emerges from the forest to feed a stagnant, scum-encrusted pond. The second is where a tree has fallen and torn a hole in the thorny briars. Okay, choice number 2. Do you wish to enter the forest by way of the stream and the stagnant pond that no doubt contains a huge monster? Or do you wish to enter through the gap created by the fallen tree, which no doubt contains a hidden monster? 155 or 84. Okay, so what is, which way are we going, people? 7 people watching. Chip in. Are we going by the stream or are we going by the tree? Let's hear a choice. Tree or stream? Tree or stream? What do you reckon? Oh, I need to put my phone on silent. I do apologise. It's blipping away. Getting a lot of messages here. Hold on. Okay. Funny. Okay, come on in. Tree. Thorny tree. Goat says the tree. Okay. If you have armor on, water is always bad. Yeah. That is true. That is true. All right, we're going to via the fallen tree in absence of any other suggestions. Turning to 84. Okay, I'm not going to read out all of this out because I don't want to get a sore throat. But basically, sensing no immediate threat, you continue to the forest's edge where you are greeted by an unwholesome warmth. It rises out of a mulch of insects and fungi that are feasting upon the corpse of the tree. Silently, you offer up a prayer to Ishmael before venturing a step further into this inhospitable domain. Beyond the dead tree, you find a muddy track, which is bordered on both sides by tall trunks and thorny briars of the forest, so dense is this tangle of trees and brush that it's impossible to leave the track. You feel as if you are walking along an endless passage, one so unnatural that its construction could only be the result of evil herbcraft. Ew. At length, the track widens and the trees begin to thin out. Ahead, you see a clearing, and at once your spidey senses tingle. It is a warning that you are not alone. Instinctively, you reach for your weapon. As your hand closes upon it, you see that the floor of the clearing is alive, with a carpet of loathsome, scuttling creatures. At once, you attempt to use your magnified powers of animal control to determine if these creatures are hostile, but your efforts go unrewarded. If you possess animal mastery, what did I say? I said we would need that skill, didn't I? And fortunately, I do. So I turn to page 7. And I suspect this is going to be pretty hideous. You focus your power upon the scuttling horde and try to bring them under your control. They do not respond to your commands, and at once you sense that they are under a spell that has robbed them of all free will. You draw on your inner strength and attempt to break this spell, and the creatures seize their frenzied movement with an abruptness you find unnerving. It is as if they have suddenly turned to stone. Now you can see them clearly. They remind you of beetles, save that they are far larger, have long rat-like tails. You observe them for a few moments longer and then take a tentative step forwards. Instantly, they burst into life, only this time they do not confine themselves to the forest floor. With a sound like 1,000 squeaky door hinges, they sprout wings and soar into the air in a formation that resembles a black cloud. Shit, this is This is turning bad really quickly. Soon they have left the clearing, and as you watch the last of them disappear over the tops of the trees, you can only hope they're not some form of lookout. Birds from Dunland! Or whatever. Spies from Dunland! Isn't it the line? On the far side of the clearing, you discover that the trail continues deeper into the forest. You follow it for nearly an hour until your keen senses warn you of danger ahead again. You hear a movement. It is above and behind you. With incredible speed, you spin on your heel, raise your weapon to parry a possible attack. Your reactions are fast, but they may not be quick enough to protect you from what lurks in the canopy of branches high above. From out of the darkness there falls a wriggle mass of thorny creepers that come snaking towards your head as if driven by a single mind. If you possess grand pathmanship, turns 257. I do not. So we need to go to 140. No worries, Goat. Thanks for being here. Nimbly, you dive and roll across the spongy ground to avoid the falling creepers. Your swift action saves you from the first attack, but another mass descend, moving faster than the first, and ensnare you in their thorny grasp before you can get back on your feet. If you possess animal mastery, which I do, turn to 56. Now, I bet if I'd had to go to 291, I have a feeling that would be that your adventure ends here. Should we have a quick look? Oh no, that's a direct combat thing. So let's see what happens. 56. Instantly, your senses tell you that you're fighting a living creature and not a plant. The creeper-like tendrils are part of its natural camouflage, and it coils them around your limbs and neck in an attempt to squeeze the life from your body. You feel its animal strength. Forewarned, you resist this attack just long enough to raise your weapon and strike a mighty blow which tears away a great swath of the creature's wriggling limbs, and a fountain of Ishor erupts from every severed end. And from somewhere above the canopy of branches, you hear an unearthly roar of pain. Once more, the remaining tendrils seek you out, but this time they're longer, soft, fibrous, but stiff and studded with barbed thorns. The swirling mass strike for your throat. Desperately, you hack at them with devastating effect. Yet one of the limbs avoids your blows and wraps it tightly around your neck. Pain fills your head and chest as its razor-sharp thorns bite deeply into your flesh and inject a powerful acid. Damn, this thing sounds awful. Okay, we're in a combat situation. It's combat skill of 36, endurance of 39. Now, my current combat ability is 37 with the bow, or 33 with my broadsword. Yeah. And then I can't do scythe urge and that kind of stuff. So, all right. Oh dear. All right. Well, I guess we're in a combat. Let's let me get the combat chart up. That would be useful, wouldn't it? Hold on a second. Okay, here is the combat results table. So, for anyone who hasn't seen, basically what you do is you look at your combat. So I'm going to fire my bow at him in the first combat round because that's going to give me a +1 advantage over his combat ratio of 36 because he is 36. That would give me 37. His endurance is 39. Mine is 42. So this is a pretty nasty scrap already. On the +1 chart, I'm here. So for example, if I roll a 1, I lose 5 endurance. He loses 4. Oh, sorry about that. But if I roll a 10, he loses 14 and I lose nothing. Okay, so we're going to go to the dice. I'm going to do the first 2 rounds of combat with the bow, because that's going to give me the best chance. So, all right, let's roll. Here we go. That's an 8. Oh, I like it. An 8 will give me, on the +1, it means he takes 11 damage and I take nothing. And his endurance is 39, which means that his, oh, I didn't put 56 in here, did I? Let me just add that. Which means that that's now gone down to 28. Okay, so his endurance is at 28. Could put that on here. And I've taken nothing. I've taken no damage. All right, so we're gonna attack him again. Again with the bow. It's a 5. So on the +1 chart, he takes 8 damage and I take 2. So his endurance is now down to 20. And I've lost 2 points, so mine is now down to 42. Okay. Mine's now down to 40 from 42. Okay, so keeping in mind he's still got 20 endurance, he's still pretty mean. I've got to cross 2 bows off my 2 arrows off my quiver. I think I had 19, I think I did. Let me check. Oh, I've got 17. Okay, so that's down to 15. Yeah, I'll do one more round of combat with the bow, and then we'll go on to the broadsword after that. It's a 5, so that's the same again. So he's now down to 12. And I lose another 2. So I'm now down to I'm down to 38 on my endurance. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. The next round we are going to be fighting with my broadsword. So with my broadsword, I am on 33 combat. I didn't bring the summer sword. I left it at home. I'm starting to regret that actually already. Maybe that was a bad idea because that would have given me combat of 43. But I'm not going to cheat. I'm gonna. So 33 against him is it's -3 the other way. So on the chart, we're now on this chart here. We're rolling. So hopefully we'll roll high. Let's see. It's a 6. I'll take that. So on a 6, he has lost 6 points. That means his endurance is now down to 6. And I've lost another 3, which means my endurance is now down to 35. Okay. Now I've got a skill called. Oh, let me talk about that when this combat's finished. Do one more round with the sword. Keep that like that. Thank you. He be dead. He is dead. Hey, how you doing? Rogue Handle 1688. Yeah, man, I'm a massive Lone Wolf fan. I mean, that's not what my channel is mainly about. Mainly, I interview people in the creative industries, film directors, stuff like that, authors, anybody who does anything creative and at every level. I've had some great guests on my channel, including film producer Galen Hurd, who produced the Terminator 1 and 2, the good ones, and She also produced Aliens, and she also produces the entire Walking Dead franchise. Whoa, just give me £20. Wow, man. That's really kind. Thank you very much. I can tell you that is sorely needed right now. I'm not a rich man. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very generous, dude. You just turned up and just gave me 20 quid. How kind. Well, I'm going to read out anything else you say, so within reason. Okay, so he's dead. I think I lost. It was 6 we rolled. Yeah, he had 6 endurance left. Was it a 6 I rolled? Oh, it was a 5. No, he's still alive. He's got 1 point left. Okay, he's got 1 point left. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. So I've taken another 4 damage. He's got 1 point left. So my endurance is now at 31. God, this guy is taking some points off me. I feel like I want to save my arrows, so I'm gonna go with the broadsword again. Okay, that's an 8. Now he's dead. All right. So whatever it was that attacked me that I can't quite see in the canopy is dead. And I lost 1 more point. He lost 9. So I'm down to 30. Okay, I've got now. Okay, so after this combat, I'm definitely going to do some healing. I've got 3 Lampspur things. Every time you drink one of them, you heal 4 points. I've also got these buds of healing from Sonara. I've got 73 of those, and they heal you +3 every time you eat one of them. I kind of feel like I shouldn't have them. That feels like it's kind of cheating. This is why healing Kai is a must. Yeah, I've got the advanced curing, which I can heal 20 points once every however many days it is. I'd have to recheck. But I also have yeah, I've got healing. You get +1 for every numbered section. And then I've also got curing. So I'll be applying my healing. I won't use my lamps for potions just yet. I might use 1. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the tentacle thing, whatever it was, is now deceased. Let's go to 327 and see what it says. All right. Did that not go in? Right. Let's do that again. My Mac is getting old. I'm going to need to do a crowdfunder on here to replace my Mac. As you sever the last of the flailing tendrils, the roaring above is replaced by a deathly silence. For a moment, you remain where you stand, gasping for breath, the blood pounding in your ears. Your kite tunic is soaked with the ichor of your unseen attacker, and its rising stench is making it difficult to draw breath. Then you hear the sound of snapping branches, and quickly you move aside as the body of the beast comes crashing down to the earth. With a weapon poised, you approach the huge shape. It resembles a bear, but covered in leaves rather than fur. And it possesses a bulbous head with 4 hooded orange eyes. Its bloated black and yellow striped body is a mass of severed stumps, and from the back of its neck there protrudes a clump of spines, though like those of a porcupine. But these ooze a sticky black venom. The sight and smell of this unnatural creature makes you linger no longer. No, you're too right, it doesn't. Quickly, you sheath your weapon and head off towards the east. 242. Okay. All right. Well, looking in the back of the Plague Lords of Ruel, the new edition I've got here in my hands, I'm interested to see if there's. They kind of do like a monster manual. Oh, there's a guide. So there's a guide to herbs. That's interesting. The Herbarium of Northern Magnamund. Okay. Probably useful if I read that at some point. And it appears that I have just been attacked by a Strugnoth. Stroganoff resemble grotesquely mutated bears that are covered in leaves rather than fur. This enables them to hide effectively in the foliage beneath the trees where they live. They possess bulbous heads with 4 eyes, writhing massive thorny tentacles which can spray forth a powerful acid. Yeah, pretty good, pretty gross. The Cenobetala was the beetles that I just saw. And then there's also a Plagueheart, an aquatic, amorphous, sentient mass of grey, formless ooze with evil plant-like tendrils from a gelatinous body. That sounds really unpleasant. And a Giganite. Giganites are very large mutants with misshapen, fanged, cat-like heads. So if I put my camera on for a second, you can... No, hang on. Let me do this. There you go. These are sort of some of the things in the book that you get at the back there. All right. I mean, it might have been useful for me to read that before I wandered into the evil forest, but never mind. We're doing all right. Okay, so this is one section without combat, so that's automatically going to heal me back 1 point, which is going to take me back up to 31. Now, I'm not going to risk being that low, so I'm also going to eat one, well, have 1 lamps per potion. That's going to take me back up to 35. So I'm going to knock one of those off my chart. I'm down to 2 of those. All right. Let me get another drink here. For now, you follow the muddy track as it twists a tortuous route through the trees of this accursed realm. Baleful eyes observing your passing, yet you choose to ignore them, for you sense that these waters pose no real threat to your safety. They are lowly animals that possess little intelligence and even less courage, though you fancy the latter would not be so if you were weak or wounded. Okay. The path ascends a ridge and then drops steeply towards the floor of a mist-enshrouded valley, where you happen upon something that brings you to a halt. A moss-grown skull lies on the path, its jaw agape as if uttering a silent scream. Beyond it lie 2 skeletons in rotting mail, half buried in a nest of sawtoothed briar. Then through the mist you see weapons, rusted and mouldering, and the grisly remains of a war horse, its armoured rider, slumped astride its ruined back. You are advancing towards the horse when you hear a sound that draws your eyes away to the east. It is a busy squeaking noise, muffled by the dense undergrowth. You leave the path and melt into the tangled trees. Really? Am I really going to do that? That's correct. You can carry, I think it says you can carry a maximum of 4 lamps per potions as well on any adventure, just to stop people from kind of hoarding loads of them. My backpack at the minute is, I've got 4 meals, I've got some lamps for potions, I've got some fire seeds which don't take any space, and a rope and some rope. That's it. So I've got room for 1 other item. And my special items, I've got room for like 8, because it said that you could only take certain special items on this trip. So a whole load of my special items are sitting back at home. Right. You leave the path and mount into the tangled trees. With careful steps, you edge towards the noise, your senses straining to extract information from your surroundings until you become almost part of the forest itself. Then you detect movement ahead, and from the cover of the thorny bough, you draw your weapon and wait in readiness. And I don't like the sound of this. A line of rat-like creatures, each as tall as a youth, is wending its way along the forest path. They are armed with crude and rusty weapons, clothed in rags that were once worn by human soldiers. So they're like rat men, basically, from D&D. Your keen sense of smell, I suspect that I would have it regardless, detects the vile aroma of disease which hangs heavy around these loathsome rat men. At once you realise these must be the Vaz hag that Rowe spoke about. Shielded by your Magnikai skills, you watch in silence as they file past your hiding place and slowly disappear. When you're sure they've gone, you sheath your weapon and continue your trek towards Margarith 206. Okay. Dawn breaks and the sun appears through a rent in the ominous mass of grey cloud that is swelling overhead. You stop and tilt back your head to enjoy the warmth of its life-giving rays upon your face. It is a brief respite, for within minutes the clouds close ranks and you find yourself immersed once more in the forest's gloom. During the night, the track has led you out of the valley and up a steady rise towards a plateau where a jutting spur of slate grey rock stands, surmounted by a score of light blasted trees. There in the shadow of the rock, your eagle eyes detect 3 dark pits which have been dug side by side. You cannot see what lies at the bottom of these excavations, but you can sense that they radiate a powerful aura of evil. Yeah. If you wish to use your magnified discipline of divination in order to detect the psychic residue which may be lingering at this site, turn to 111. I'm pretty sure I have that ability. Divination, yeah, I do have it. Okay, let's use it. And those people watching, you can help me make choices when I actually have a choice, like, do you want to go left or right? You focus upon the 3 distant pits and allow your consciousness to pass into the trance-like state that you must be achieved to allow your discipline to work. A tingling of sensation runs along your limbs and gradually takes an image form in your mind. From out of the swelling mist there comes into focus a moving scene that is terrible to behold. A vast procession of partly clad soldiers being herded into the pits by packs of blood-hungry Vazhag. They are bound with ropes and many are grievously wounded. They plead for mercy, but their pitiful cries go unheeded as the snarling, savage rat men stab them to death with crudely fashioned spears before casting them down into the 3 yawning abysses. Gradually the image fades and you return to consciousness. You discover that you are lying face down upon the ground. Your limbs shake uncontrollably. Your forehead and chest are bathed in a cold sweat. You have tapped into the powerful residue of a psychic force that pervades this site, and the experience has left you in a state of psychic shock. Lose 6 endurance points. Fuck. Okay. Now, it'll actually be 5 because I would have healed another point since the last time. So, but blimey, that was a bugger. So I'm back down at 31 again. Do I stay on 31 or do I have another potion? What do we think? I think I'm going to have another potion before continuing. So I'm down to 1 lamps per potion. I'm putting my endurance back up to 35 to recover from that ordeal. All right. Slowly you recover from the trauma. Pull yourself to your feet. Head crosses the plateau. Passes within a few yards of the pits before continuing into a tunnel-like gap in the trees ahead. You advance, but every step that brings you nearer to the site causes your psychic senses to rebel. The images you saw and the aura of evil that lingers here, so strong you find it difficult to step closer. You resolve to reach the gap at a run, but a sudden noise from behind arrests you in mid-step. Shambling out of the forest come a horde of monstrous shapes, corpse-like beings that exist in a twilight between life and death. Perched atop their withered bodies are hairless heads, bearing lidless red eyes and gaping maws, rimmed with the hundreds of needle-thin fangs. Well, they sound delightful, don't they? As one, they utter a deathly groan. You feel an icy chill electrify your spine. Fighting to suppress your mounting horror, you turn and run towards the gap. You're within a few yards of the rocky spur when a dozen or more of the fearful creatures appear from the shadows to block your escape. Once more they utter their cadaverous cry. and advance upon you from both sides. Fuck this. Desperately, you survey the plateau for another means of escape, but there is none. You are trapped. The only choice you have is to face the creatures or to return towards the pits. Damn, that doesn't sound good. Okay, so chat, what do we do? Do we fight the creatures or do we go to the pits? Put the option that you think we should pick into the chat. Go to the pits or fight the creatures. What are we doing? We've got 5 people watching. Surely one of you wishes to help me make that important decision. So do let me know. Okay. Okay, desert's driving. All right. Well, we got a choice of fighting or retreating towards the pits. I mean, fighting seems, and my endurance is low or is damaged anyway. I'm going to return to the pits. I'm going to go 148. Grim Horde shambles near and closes ranks in readiness, perhaps for a concerted attack. But combat is not their intent. As one, they open their mouths and give vent to a ghastly sound that is akin to mocking laughter. As if in answer to their gleeful cacophony, there arises from out of the black shadows of the pits a dreadful rumbling roar. Something huge is stirring deep within each of these dark, foreboding shafts. As their ghoulish laughter reaches its pitch, 3 giant, misshapen cat-like heads rise up into the light, each perched atop a snaky body. Oh God, these are the things I saw before. They bare their fangs and shake off the tangle of human bones that cling to their stinking corpse-green manes. The sight of these unholy creatures makes you reel back in shock and utter a cry of disbelief. Your cry is lost among the barrage of screaming owls. Yet the cat things react as if they hear it, and together they come oozing out from their dark, noisome lairs, glide slowly towards you where you stand. If you have the Grandmaster discipline of Kai Surge, I don't think I do. I've got Psi Surge, but I don't have Kai Surge. I've got Hunting Animal Advanced Curing, and I did the thing on my bow. So sadly not. So that's unfortunate. So that means I'm going to 38. Oh my God. These things are really tough. Right. Now, it says here I can elect to evade them when I've got their endurance down to 36. Yeah, I wish I'd bought the summer sword. Wow, these guys are tough. Right. So my total without weapons is 29. Broadsword brings it up to 32. I can use Mind Blast and Scythe Surge on top of that, which is 6 plus 6. So actually, if I go with my bow and arrow and use Scythe Surge, that gets me to 60. That gets me to... Hang on. They've got a combat skill of 50. I'm going to be fighting on -7. I think we might have to... I think we might have to do a cheat at this stage and say maybe I bought the summer sword after all, because I think if I haven't taken it, I can tell from the ratings of things here that I'm going to get my fucking ass kicked in this game, because I don't have... I haven't got the level, I haven't got the combat ability to defeat these things, or indeed other things. If stuff is going to be coming at me at a sort of combat skill of 50, so I might have to say, hey, I put the summer sword after all. So if I put the summer sword and I do Mind Blast and Scythe Surge, that means I get my combat rating up to 49. 49 with everything. All right. So on the combat table, we're basically on the -2, -1 chart. And we need some high die rolls here. Serious high die rolls. Let's see how we go. I've got 35 endurance, which is not a lot compared to 80. Okay, 8 on the first die roll. That's not bad. He's lost 9 points. Okay, hang on. So what we'll do is we'll do this. Put a battle here, capital letters. Boom. So he's now down to 71 endurance because he's lost 9 points. I have lost 1. I'm now down to 34. All right, that's not too bad. But I'm also using Mind Blast, which costs 1 endurance, which takes me down to 33. If I don't use Mind Blast, I'll be on the next chart over. Okay, I think on this occasion, let's do one more. Let's do one more round on this chart. Seven. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Take that. I'll take that. Right, so I lose 3 total because of the Mind Blast, and he loses 8. So he's now down to, what's that, 63? Yeah. He's down to 63. I'm down by 3. No, sorry. I'm down by 2, but 3 with the thing. Yeah. So I'm down to 30. Ooh, I don't know. We can keep this up, you know. All right. Well, got no choice to continue, have we? So I've kind of cheated already because I said I was leaving the somersault behind, but It's only because every time I took it out with me, it seemed to be a problem. But I guess, right, okay, so, yeah. I've got to get his endurance down to 36. Christ. So that's a 5. And I was going on this chart this time, which is the, so he's lost 5, I've lost 4. Ouch. Down to 26. He is down to 59. So if I've got to knock off another 30 points, something like that. I need a couple of 10s. I need a couple of 10s in a row here. Whew, here we go. Oh, it was going to be a 10. Then it was a 2. So he loses 2. I lose 5. Shit. I think I'm going to die. That's down to 57. Okay, we need a 10. We need a 10 here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Lucky number 10. Lucky number 10. 6. Well, it's not the worst. It's lost another 5. It's down to 52. I'm down by 3. So I'm on 18. Shit. Okay. Well, we're going to do another round, I guess. Do anything else, can I? Yes, it's a 10. Okay, good, 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 good. That gets... He loses 10, I lose nothing. Now, that could make all the difference. He's now down to 42. Pretty soon, we will be able to attempt to escape. Although I don't know what the other creatures are going to have to say about that, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Another 10. Now he's down to 32. Now I can attempt to escape, or I could try and kill them. It's too much of a risk to stay in the combat with them. So I'm going to attempt to escape. Okay. So, see what happens. As you strike the blow that brings one of the most fearsome monsters crashing lifelessly to the ground, you spring away from its gore-stained carcass and barge shoulder first through the line of screeching ghouls. The spectacle of the fallen giganite and the suddenness of your action has taken the creatures by surprise. Before they can react, you've already sprinted to within a few yards of the leafy tunnel. Glance over your shoulder to see the shambling horde falling over themselves in their haste to give chase. The sight raises your spirits, but the sensation is short-lived, for above them towers a giganite with its mouth full of bubbling phlegm. With a flick of its powerful neck, it sends the massive spitball arching towards your fleeing form. Instinctively, you throw yourself to the ground, and the foul missile whooshes past, hitting a tree at the base of its trunk. At once, there is a sizzling sound, and within a creaking groan, the tree is brought crashing to the ground, its base eaten away by the acidic saliva. Great droplets of the spittle splash your tunic, and instantly it begins to smolder. If you possess Grand Nexus, sadly, I do not. I didn't pick that one. I've got Grand Hunt Mastery, which I feel probably I shouldn't have picked. Turn to 88. So it's 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. Okay, so I've lost another 6 endurance points, which, considering how badly injured I am, is not good. I'm down to 13. If you survive this, Grievous wounding, turn to 117. I have survived it. With the shrieks of the horde and the rasping growl of the Gagonite echoing in your ears, you spring to your feet and run headlong into the mouth of the leafy tunnel. Your stamina and fleetness of foot keep you ahead of the ghouls until 2 miles later, you sense that the danger has passed. It's safe enough for a few minutes rest. Right, so straight away, that's going to get me back up 1 endurance to 14. I'm also now going to use my Deliverance Advanced Curing, 20 points. So that's going to take me back up to 34. I'm also going to drink my last Lampsper potion. That's going to take me to 38. So I'm only 4 points away from my max. Bloody hell, that was a bit leery. But I've now got no Lampsper left. They've all gone. Right. So once your pulse has settled and you've finished your consumption of your healing properties, your fear of being followed prompts you to continue along the leafy passage without further delay. Your progress is in near darkness, which is broken only by a few scattered rays of grey light that creep through the ceiling above. At length, the tunnel ends and you emerge into a clearing where stand the derelict remains of an ancient stone dwelling. You approach it warily, sensing the presence of magic. Yet inside its shattered walls, you find nothing but mould and clumps of sickly black grass. Then your skills of divination tingle afresh at the presentment of sorcery increases. Suddenly you realise that the source of the magic is not here in this ruined hut. It is approaching the hut. Through a crack in the stones, you see a gap appear in the wall of the trees opposite, and a group of Vazhag enter the clearing, their ratty faces sniffing at the heavy, humid air. Among their number is one who is not of their breed. He is human in size and stature, though his hooded scarlet robes make it difficult to be sure. For a moment you catch a glimpse of the grassy green mask covering his face, and at once you know this is a Sena druid. In his hand he carries a rod of gold that is radiating the aura of magic that you detected. Sena calls his pack to a halt. They cease all movement and watch in quiet awe as he raises the golden rod and uses it to make slow, deliberate sweep of the clearing. Hurriedly, you've drawn all your magnified skills of invisibility and pathmanship to shield you from detection as the Sena sweeps back the rod and levels it directly at the derelict hut. Okay. If you possess Kai Screen, I don't. I've only got Psi Screen because I didn't choose that. If you do not possess this, turns 298. Oh, shit. Right. Well, it's good that I took those few minutes rest to elect to do some healing. I feel that was a good decision. Psychic protection afforded to you by your magnified disciplines buckles under the Sena's concentrated assault. You feel an unbearable pressure behind your eyes. A white-hot core of pain erupts inside your head, sends you reeling into the ground in agony. You lose 4 endurance points. As gradually the pain fades, you hear the Sena's harsh voice barking in order to his Vazhag escort. You have been detected. Shit. 159. Now, that is not that's technically an attack, isn't it? So yeah, I couldn't have done any healing then. All right. This isn't good. A hellish noise echoes around the clearing, a terrifying whip-like crack that sets your ears ringing. Sharps of silverstone pepper your legs, and the blast of concussion leaves you wide-eyed and gasping for breath. So I've just lost another 6 endurance points, which takes me back down to 32. Oh, this way in is really bad. Who said we should go this route? Through the smoking hole in the wall, you can see that the Vazhag pack have halted in their tracks. They hold their grimy paws to their ears and grimace as the Sena prepares to launch a second blast of power from his golden rod. If you possess the Summersword, turn to 322. Right. If you do not possess this special item, turn to 123. Now, this is where it often can be bad for you to have the Summersword. We sort of decided that I did actually take it, and I kind of forgot, which was a bit dodgy. But let's see what happens here. Okay, so that's if I've got some sword. Let's go back one. If I don't possess it, that's interesting. So the two slightly different attacks that you face. Okay, interesting. You unsheath the sun sword and point the tip of its golden blade at the red-robed druid. From his rod leaps a second charge, a lance of crackling fire that spirals through the hole in the wall and fixes itself to the summer sword like a ravenous vampire let loose upon a maiden's throat. Instantly, there's a sizzling splash of blue and white sparks and flashing webs of electrical power. Yet you experience no pain. The dark power of the druid's rod is no match for the godly might, or goodly might even, of the summer sword. Slowly and deliberately, you draw back your sword, then cast away its unwelcome sheath of fire. Ball of crackling fire arcs across the clearing and sighs through a pair of trees with a splintering roar. The severed trunks teeter for a moment and then come crashing to the ground, narrowly missing the Cena. The druid screams in fury. He curses at you and then shouts for the Vazhag minions, commanding them to attack and rip you to shreds. With hatred blazing in their blood-red eyes, the Vazhag advance towards the ruins. Okay, if you wish to stand and fight, fuck that, I'm running. 279, so this is 322. And then 279. You clamber out of the derelict hut and run towards a narrow gap in the trees. A thorny corridor lies beyond it, leading away into the darkness, with the fanatical shrieks of the Vazhag echoing in your ears. You muster courage and leap into the gap. If you possess the Grandmaster discipline of assimilance, turns to 190. I'm afraid I don't. I feel like I've chosen some of my skills a bit poorly here, but never mind. 315. Okay. You force your way through the narrow, thorny corridor, but it soon comes to an abrupt end. The Vazhag are now streaming into the gap close on your heels. In seconds, they will be upon you. Then you see them with a foul, snickering cry. The Vazhag swarm comes leaping towards you, three abreast. You steady yourself and then raise your weapon. The leading ratmen throw themselves upon you in a blood-crazed frenzy, hacking and stabbing with their rusty blades. Okay. Yet you dispatch them in seconds with such precision and economy of movement that it would appear to an onlooker that you hardly moved at all. That's because I'm so cool. But for every Vazhag that falls, three more take its place, and within minutes you are in danger of being suffocated to death by the press of their loathsome bodies. Okay, so there's 34. They got 44 endurance and 34 combat ability. My endurance is currently at 32. And my combat skill with the summer sword is 43. So that would put me 9 above them on the chart, which means I'm going to be rolling on this chart here. So if I roll a 9 or a 10, I'm going to kill them straight away. Yeah, I don't know why I said earlier in the game I'm not going to bring the summer sword this time. I do know why, because last time it was a pain in the arse if I brought it. It was bad. Okay, here we go. 6. They have lost 14 endurance and I've lost 1. 1 I can handle, that's fine. Down to 31. They've lost 14, so they are down to 30. Okay, that's much more even Stevens. Let's go again. 7, I like it. I've taken no damage, and they've taken 16, so they were down to 30, weren't they? So now they're going to take 16 off of that, which puts them down to 14. And I take no damage. Third round of combat. So they haven't actually managed to land a hit on me yet. 2, that's not so good. Oh no, I lost 1 point, didn't I? So okay, 9 and 3. So they're down to 5. I'm down to 28. Have you noticed that I've basically been in non-stop combat since I took this short route. It's been sort of 3 pretty fierce combats in a row. I think I'm going to kill them on this next roll. 5, yeah, I think that'll do it. That has 12 points out of them and 2 off of me, so I'm down to 26. Now, if I hadn't have done that curing thing when I had the chance, when I stopped for a rest, I would have died there. All right, combat over. There's a good chance I would have died. So, if you win this combat, turn to 172. Oh my God, here we go. I don't think it's over yet. You struggle to extricate yourself from the bodies of the Vazhag you've slain. As you rise to the summit of the grisly heap, you glimpse the druid scurrying towards the gap in the trees by which he and his late minions entered the clearing. You know that he must not be allowed to escape. If he were to reach Morgarith and raise the alarm, your mission and probably your life would soon be over. With fear in your heart, you clamber over the dead Vazhag and work your way back along the passage, determined to stop him before he can get away. So I killed them all. Wow, that's pretty cool. If you have a bow and arrows and wish to use them, okay, I do. So let's turn to 176 because I don't have either of those magical abilities because I chose rather poorly. Swiftly you unshoulder your bow and draw an arrow to your lips. The straining bowstring bites into your fingertips as, with smooth precision, you take aim. Fleeing druid's back. The instant you fix upon his bellowing scarlet robes, you release the bowstring and send the shaft speeding towards the nape of his neck. Now, pick a number from the random table. If you have grand weapon mastery with a bow, which I do, that's what I chose, I can add 3. Okay, good. So we're going to roll a dice and we're going to add 3. That is an 8 in total, which I believe is going to put us to the required 317. The arrow skewers the druid's wicked heart. He takes a few faltering steps and then he raises his arms and vents his death before collapsing into the saw-toothed briar. You run to where he has fallen, and curiosity prompts you to prise away his green mask and look upon the face of this servant of evil. It is an ugly, disease-ridden face, human in shape yet lacking any trace of humanity. Reluctantly, you search him and discover the following items: dagger, senna robe, senna mask, and 20 luna. If you decide to keep any of the above, okay, so I'm not going to keep the dagger. However, I have a feeling that the robe and the mask will probably come in handy. I've got loads of luna already, but I'll take it, I suppose. So I've got room in my backpack because I used all my lamps for up. So I'll take the senna mask, the senna robe, because I think that's going to be useful in terms of like getting into the city or something like that. And I'll take the money. The golden rod is useless. Okay, fine. With twilight but an hour away, you leave the clearing via a gap and hurry along a muddy track below. Okay, 10. Now that was a chapter without any combat happening, which means I can heal 1 point, and then I think this one I can heal another point. Oh, and then at the end of this section I feel physically refreshed, so that'll be 5 points in total. So that puts me back to 31 currently, down from 42. I'm not going to read all of this, but let me just so I follow a track through the green and sickly thing. Corpse, it's like chill, leaves you shivering despite your efforts to shield yourself from its clammy touch. It's basically grim and horrible. Night no longer restricts your vision, and as the track ascends towards a wooded peak, You see the outline of a ruined stone watchtower perched atop a rocky knoll. You sense that the tower is deserted, and keen to escape from the mist, you climb towards a crack in its granite base. You enter a jagged breach, and in doing so, you disturb a host of creatures nesting within. In a frenzy, they scuttle away from the tower, disappearing among the rocks. Aching with fatigue and mindful of the perils which still lie ahead, you settle yourself in the corner and try and snatch a few hours of sleep. It's night. Your slumber is disturbed by strange and unwholesome dreams formed from the fears suppressed by your conscious mind. You're haunted by phantom shapes which take the form of friends and fellow countrymen, kind initiates under your tutorage, and simple summer-lending folk, their heads bowed and their faces pitted and disfigured by a plague, drift past you in seamlessly endless procession. You awake with a start, your pulse racing, your forehead glistening with beads of sweat. First, a sense of hopelessness washes over you, brought on by the vivid memory of your nightmare. But as your consciousness returns, so too does your inner strength. Oh, isn't that nice? You perceive the dreams are a warning of what should happen if your quest fails. Right. Okay. You slept, you rested, you get points back. Yeah, okay. 96. I think that last one was, hang on, was that last one number 10? Yeah, it was. I've got it here, but I didn't press enter. There we go. Okay, looks like I might have reached it. You decide that travelling openly along the track would be too risky. Rather than chance falling foul of a Vazhag patrol, you set off through the forest using the trees as cover, but all while keeping the trail in sight as you trek northwards towards the Sennery stronghold. Your decision is soon justified. Within a few minutes, you are forced to hide when a rickety wagon laden with casks and escorted by a dozen Vazhag appears on the trail. Unaware of your presence, the detachment passes within a few yards of your position before continuing on its way southwards. It is an hour past noon when the trees thin out and you catch your first glimpse of Morgaruth crouching at the forest's edge. You stare at an awe-stricken by the sight of its slime green walls and towers. I'm just looking at the picture. Okay, so that's all. They're all covered in like green mold, I guess. Interesting. There's a lot of people coming out. This vast Sennery's fortress rises out of the land like the thrusting fist of some vile demonic demon, bristled with formidable defences, turrets and bastions, punctuated sheer stone walls, and its base is ringed by a moat of bubbling water. A single drawbridge spans this moat, providing sole access. Okay. Two muddy tracks lead away from the drawbridge. One is the Scardos Trail, the track that brought you here, and the other heads due east. You consult your map and discover that it leads to the River Storm, less than 5 miles. There's a bridge that spans this mighty waterway, connecting all to the realm of Slavia. A small army of Vazhag, accompanied by a host of other creatures of doubtful origin, are marching away in a column. Judging by their numbers and wagon loads of equipment they trundle in their wake, you suspect they're marching to battle with the free land of Slavia. In order to destroy the plague virus and fulfill your vital quest, you know you must gain entry to the stronghold. Anxiously, you let the minutes pass as you scan the interminable lines of marching Vazhag and forest walls in the hope of spotting a means by which you can enter undetected. If you possess a Senna mask and a Senna robe, which I do, turn to 292. All right. Quickly unshoulder your pack and remove the Senna mask and robe. The garment and the mask still bear the vile smell of the creature that once owned them, making you hesitate before putting them on. But you're determined to enter the Morgarith undetected, and you hope to achieve this aim. I've now got to erase them from my backpack items. Why? I haven't thrown them away yet. I'm wearing them. Maybe I want to keep them. Why do I erase them? That doesn't make any sense. You would erase them once you discard them. You don't erase them when you wear them. Once you've donned, I'm not going to do that. Once you've donned your disguise, you crawl to a clump of dense foliage at the edge of the forest and wait patiently for your opportunity to act. Eventually, your patience is rewarded when you spy 2 Vazhag approaching Morgarith from the Scardos Trail. They are leading on a chain, which They are leading on a chain what appears at first glance to be a man, although this impression is soon dispelled when they draw closer to your hiding place. Trailing behind the Vazhag is a creature with no free will of its own, a being that was once human, but is now consigned to the twilight world of the undead. And the sight of this stiff-limbed zombie propelling itself on withered grey limbs fills you with revulsion and pity. With difficulty, you suppress your anger at the creatures who have caused this transformation. And as the Vazhag draw level, you emerge from the foliage and order them to stop. Stop. Once the Ratmen obey, deceived by your disguise and your command of Senorese dialect, which of course I've learned recently, apparently, even though I've never spoken to one before. Once the Ratmen obey, nervously their red eyes regard you and they shuffle uneasily as they wait for your next command. If you wish to ask them what they are doing, turn to 122. If you wish to order them to accompany you into Logue, turn to 210. Should I ask them? What do we think? Or should I just ask them to accompany me? I feel like I should probably ask them what they're doing. So I think I will. Vazhag inform you that they are returning from a place called the Temple of Desnea. Brother Hoes, the druid in charge of the temple, recently resurrected this human from the temple's gravel pits. They've been ordered to deliver it to Brother Krumar of the Hall of Sacrifice in Gorith. Excellent, you reply convincingly. I am on my way to seek counsel with Brother Krumar this very instant. You will escort me there. Now lead on. The Vazhag appear to relax upon hearing your order, as if they half expected you to punish them. And they set off readily towards the drawbridge, with you following close behind. Turn to 233. Okay. Oh, that was 122. Yeah, I'm definitely fighting off a Logue here. Walking across the aged blackened drawbridge towards the spiky arch tower is an unnerving experience. If you're walking along a blackened tongue towards the gaping throat of some giant dragon, on either side of the bubbling moat releases foul fumes which fill your nostrils with a terrible sugary stench that clogs your lungs and blurs your vision. You draw upon your skills and your vision clears, but the sight which lies ahead looks no more inviting than it did before. No, I nearly died. Nearly. But not quite. But I did decide that I brought the summer sword after all, because it appeared I needed it. So a little bit of, oh look, I've suddenly found this in my backpack. How fantastic. At the tower, you are challenged by a troop of Vazhag guards. Using your Magna Chi discipline of animal control and pathmanship, you inform them you've come to deliver the zombie to Brother Krumar at the Hall of Sacrifice. Immediately the guards scurry aside. I am not the Kai you're looking for. Move along, move along. Okay, 224. Great Flagstone Square echoes with the rhythmic thump of marching troops and the squealed commands of their Vazhag sergeants. Your first concern is to part company with your undead companion as soon as you can, for his presence is already attracting attention from the passing Vazhag. An empty storehouse becomes his new home, And after you have paused to bolt the door, you make your way stealthily towards the staircase, which descends to a grand portal set into the base of the stronghold citadel. You've reached the north side of the keep when you are unexpectedly confronted by 3 Senate druids who turn a corner and come walking towards you in a line abreast. To avoid them, you're forced to sidestep quickly into a shadowy doorway. 1998, okay. From the darkened doorway, you watch activity take place in the keep, hoping to see something that will help you locate where in Morgarith the Cinerees are producing their deadly plague virus. From out the milling crowds of Bazhag, there suddenly appears a small group of red-robed senior druids. They are talking to each other as they walk towards your hiding place. Quickly, you pull away from the open doorway and retreat deeper into the building. A narrow corridor takes you to a flight of steps, which descends to where a passage crosses your path, and on a lightly painted sign written in Serenese indicates what might be found at either passage. Your magnetized skills enable you to read this sign. The arrow pointing left reads a library. The arrow pointing right leads a laboratory. Well, pretty obviously, we're going to go to the laboratory, aren't we? 285. All right. Silently, like a cat, you pad along the corridor towards a distant light. The promise of finding a laboratory has raised your hopes of swift victory, for perhaps it is here you will find that the Cinerees are crafting their evil diseases. Okay, it's 10 to 6 now. I'm going to call this probably pretty soon. I don't want to put too much pressure on my voice. And I'm coughing a bit as well, so... All right, let's see. The entrance to the laboratory is unguarded, so you slip inside its open door and hide behind one of the many stone pillars that support a cavernous roof. At the center of the chamber, you see 2 robed figures huddled over a stone table. Surrounding them are wooden racks filled with strange implements, scrolls, books, jars, and other paraphernalia. They appear to be tending to a large frog-like creature, which lies spread-eagled upon the table, its limbs secured by coarse ropes. Yeah, that sounds rather repulsive. Indeed, I wonder what further delights await me. We shall see. Probably too large. Yeah. So. It's not until you take 2 steps away from the table that you recognise the creature to be a sloat, a beast of burden, much used to tow barges along the River Storm. Your stomach churns when you see the poor creature is being dissected whilst alive and conscious. If you ever visited the town of Quorlen or the ruins of Macon in a previous lone wolf adventure, turn to 109. I have been to Quorlen, yes. I've got a list of places visited. I've also been to the ruins of Macon as well. So I've actually been to both of those. Okay, all right. Let's continue. We will go to 109, therefore. As the 2 figures turn from the table, you recognize the red robes they are wearing. At first, you assume them to be senior druids, but their garments are not the same. They have black hoods and skull-like motifs, which were embroidered upon them. Identify these to be 2 members of an evil sect known as the Acolytes of Vashna. The presence here of 2 worshippers of Vashna, who were once the greatest of all the Dark Lords, rekindles chilling memories of past encounters with these fanatics. Following the downfall of the Dark Lords, you'd assume that last remnants of the sect had vanished forever. Yet here before you are 2 who still wear their robes and practice their vile necromantic art. Fearful that you stumbled on a secret Cinerees conspiracy, you inch your way closer to the road men to listen to their whispered conversations. That's 247. I have a phone call coming in which I must take, so I'm going to put myself on mute for just a second. Sorry about that, people. That was a lovely friend of mine called Carly Houston, who has recently got married. I think she was calling to thank me for the congratulations and that sort of thing. And we haven't seen or spoken to each other for a really long time. So I just made sure I could call her back as soon as this stream is finished. So I apologize for the momentarily muting, but wanted to make sure we got to speak. Okay. The two figures look down at their ghastly handiwork and shake their heads in dismay as you watch the slope shudders beneath its bonds and then becomes abruptly still. One of the robed figures stoops to inspect the creature's exposed heart. Then you hear him whisper words of disappointment that yet again their experiment has failed. They wipe their bloodied hands on their robes before leaving the laboratory, locking the door behind them. Sensing you are now alone, you take the opportunity to search, including all 8 of its smaller anterooms, but you find nothing that remotely resembles the cultivation of a plague virus. The 8th anteroom, the door of which is bolted and barred, is the only area of the laboratory which you've not investigated. Though the main door is now locked, during your search you've discovered one other exit. If you wish to leave the laboratory by this door, turn to 333. If you wish to investigate the 8th anteroom, turn to 131. I think I should. I mean, clearly there's something there, isn't there? Got to be something there. So there's a wider conspiracy at work. Interesting. Using your magnified power of nexus and strength of your own 2 hands, you force open the barred door and gain access. Sunlit, and every surface is thick with dust, so it's been lain undisturbed for many years, okay? On a marble dais, which occupies most of the floor, there stands a large rectangular stone casket. It has no lid. As you approach, you can see it contains the mummified remains of a creature that you cannot readily identify. Interesting. Looks pretty horrible. You can feel no evil in the vicinity of this corpse, and your senses tell you that there is nothing other than yourself alive in this room. Confident in this knowledge, you lean forward to examine the corpse. Without warning, a powerful spike of psychic energy penetrates deep into your mind. Icy cold attacks, numbs your senses, and leaves you trembling with shock. Lose 6 endurance points. Now, I forgot to add some points after the last battle. Let me scroll back. The battle was there. And then we got 1, 2, 3. No, that's the combat over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did 2 of these at least. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I've actually gained 13 points back through healing, curing, all that kind of stuff. So that means, and I did 2 of those. So let's call it 11. So that means I'm back on 41, 1 away from maximum endurance, back down, reduced to 35. Okay. Bloody hell. Reading from the unexpected onslaught, you struggle to erect a mind shield as the mummified remains of the corpse slowly stir to life. Oh, for God's sake. Suddenly, a claw-tipped limb snakes towards your throat and grasps you. Oh, that's what's going on in the photo. Okay. In a choking, vice-tight grip, desperately you struggle to unsheath a weapon and free yourself as the grisly remains of a plague Akasharai rise up from the casket, only inches before your disbelieving eyes. Due to the speed and the surprise of the creature's attack, reduce your combat skill by 3. If you wield the summer sword, remember to double the undead plague Security's endurance. Oh, right, yeah, because it's an undead. The summer sword does double damage on undead. Okay, that's good news. All right, so he's got endurance of 36. I've got endurance of 35. And then on the combat results table, we're looking at he's got combat skill of 46. I'm using the summer sword, which is 43 if I don't use any kind of mind blasts. It's 49 if I use everything. So I'm actually 3 down. So I'm going to be rolling on the I'm going to be rolling on the -3 to -4 chart, but the good news is that the damage is doubled. So whatever I roll, I'm going to double the damage. All right, let's roll high. See what happens. Jeez, that's my first one of the game actually, so it's not too bad. So I have lost 6 points of damage. He's lost 2. So he's down at 34. Can't afford to take too many of those. Okay, hang on, let's put a battle in here. So he's down to 34. I'm down. Damn, I'm down to 29. This is not looking good for me. And then I'm going to do another round of combat. I think after this is where I'm going to call it for today. Right, 6. So that's a bit better. So he loses 6 points, which is double to 12, and I only lose 3. So 12 off of 34 means he's got 22 left. I've lost 3, so I'm down to 26. Okay. And then one more round of combat, I think. 4. Go on, rolling mediocre to shit on this one. I've done 8 points of damage to him. He's done 4 to me. I'm down at 22 now. And he's down to 16. This is going to be close. Come on, I need a 10 here. If I get a 10, he's toast. Come on, 10. Lucky number 10. 7. I'll take it. So a 7 on this chart is 8 damage to him, which is double to 16, which means he dies, and I go down to 21. Okay, nice. Combat's finished. We'll sum up this, and then I think we'll call it a day. As your killing blow severs the creature's body, the 2 halves explode, scattering shards of mummified remains all around the chamber. The force knocks you backwards, and as you fall, you catch a glimpse of a wispy, ghost-like shadow rising towards the ceiling. It halts for a moment in midair, and then it seeps through the solid stone ceiling like a smoke through a veil. Before leaving the chamber, you pause to search the stone casket. Inside, you discover a few mouldering rags and a copper key. I'll take the copper key. That sounds like it could be useful. Cursing your ill luck, you leave the chamber and head towards the laboratory door on the other side, but you discover a series of narrow passages which could eventually end at an antechamber. This domed chamber is decorated with tapestries. There are tapestries here, are there not? Yada, yada, yada. A single heavy oaken door in the opposite wall offers the only exit from the antechamber. As you approach it, you notice it's slightly ajar. Suddenly you hear the doleful sound of chanting emanating beyond the door. Curiosity prompts you to peer through its narrow opening, and as you do so, a chill runs the length of your spine. Okay, so we're going to end it there. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so that is 200. Now, one other thing to adjust is that this is a non-combat section, so my healing, I can heal my stamina up by 1 back to 22. I don't have any healing potions of any kind. I forget what curing does. What does the skill of curing do? Yeah, I don't know. I'll read it. I'll read up on it. Right, so I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Oh, I've got people joining me now. That's typical, isn't it? We're gonna wrap it up there. So that's part 1 of the Plague Lords of Rueil. And you know what? I've already enjoyed this more than the last than the last book, because I felt like I had choices. There were clearly two different routes you could take, which, you know, go via the mountains or go straight through the forest. If you went straight through the forest, which Goatee recommended for me to do, which was a foolish schoolboy error, clearly that was a poor decision on my part. But that was the route I decided to take, and I paid for it. Boy, did I pay for it. So these are the Lone Wolf books. These are the reprints. You can find them on this address, so I'll pop it in the chat for you guys. And it's a great little series. The first book, I think, is still probably the best, Flight from the Dark, which is there. I do really like Shadow on the Sand as well. That's a great book. Jungle of Horrors is a lot of fun as well. That's another good one. I didn't like Master of Darkness. I thought Master of Darkness was a bit so-so. And I thought The Prisoners of Time was a bit so-so. Dungeons of Torgar is really good. It's got a huge battle, which is a lot of fun. But this is Plague Lords. This is the one we're currently playing. The Plague Lords of Ruel. So, oh, look, and there's the Plague Lords. We could have had this up earlier, couldn't we? There's the new little map there. So we're currently inside that town, Morgarith there. Okay, people. I am back tomorrow with the Nielsen ratings at 10 o'clock. My industry interview tonight, that got moved to next Monday. I have one on Wednesday where we're interviewing legendary trance DJ Dean Zone, who's part of the UK music scene. I'm interviewing a lot of people from the UK music scene at the moment because I'm also producing music now. So it's something I've always wanted to do. And of course, all the new technologies made that much more easier for me. Plus, I have books literally full of lyrics. Yeah, all the lyrics are my own. In anything, any track that you see dropped on my channel, the lyrics are always all mine. And I craft the song as much as I can. But yeah, there's 3 tracks on my channel at the minute. Just One More Day, and then there's So Real and Time are the 3 tracks thus far. There are 12 on the album altogether that I've got coming out, so you might want to check that out. Thank you very much, Goat. I gratefully appreciate that. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'm gonna call it there. Do get in touch with me via the Facebook page for the Outcast Creative. If you are a creative and you've got a project that needs supporting, get in touch with me. I'll do what I can. Maybe I can get you on the channel, promote you. If you're a fellow YouTuber, I'm always up for collaborating with people. In fact, I love doing that. So just get in touch with me. All right. That's it for now. Take care.
Misfits and dreamers getting innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Gale Ann Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Lance and the Outcast crew.